show because something Booker McFarland said yesterday you've got to hear about. All right, D. Wood, would you believe Tua is playing for his job this season?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, listen, this year is about securing the bag for Tua Tagovailoa, and the way you got to do that is you got to stay on the field. He has not been able to stay on the field, whether it was at Alabama or with the Miami Dolphins. Okay, if he happens to not be able to stay healthy, I think the Miami Dolphins could be looking at another quarterback.
Neek, are the Dolphins going to be looking for another quarterback?
I say no. I mean, I agree with everything D. Wood said. Yeah, if he can't stay healthy, it'll be obvious that they're going to have to move on from him and find someone else who can. But I think he will stay healthy, and he's proven that he can play. So that's the hardest thing to find in this league is a quarterback that can play well within a system. They had him as good as anyone in the league last year. As long as they can keep him upright, they'll be okay, and he'll be fine.
Is Tua Tagovailoa playing for his job? Of course he is. The only people who don't see that are Tuanons and Tuaneers, whatever you want to call them. Every other reasonable football person looks at this season and understands if Tua wants to get paid, like Justin Herbert did, like Joe Burrow will be getting paid, he absolutely has to finish this year and finish it strong. A 9-8 season, with him not being there at the end, ain't gonna cut it. He won't be around. Might be on the team, but he won't be that guy. He will not be QB1 moving forward if the season that he had last year is replicated this year. Damian Woody is absolutely correct. This Miami Dolphins team only goes as far as Tua Tagovailoa takes this team. But don't take my word for it. Listen to what Chris Grier said right here.
There hadn't been any contract talks beyond the 5th-year extension. I'm assuming that's still the same. Yeah. So what's the philosophy on the wait-and-see play right now?
I just think for him, it's just letting Tua play again. Those things can be a big distraction. You have family, friends, you guys, everyone constantly asking him about it. And so I think from his agents and I have had discussions, just general, but not really about that. And it's just kind of agreed, like, let's just let him play out the season and then we'll attack that in the offseason.
Many people have heard that I used it in my last video, and people were misconstruing it and saying, Barry, you're reading into it differently. You're reading into it wrong. Really? Really? Is that what you're saying? Let me ask you this. If Tua had finished the season last year, if the Dolphins had gone to the, say, AFC Championship game, even if they had lost, what do you think the contract terms would be for Tua this year? Do you think he'd be playing on a 5th-year option? Or would they be extending him for $230, $200, $250 million with $150 million of it guaranteed? Of course they would. You have to think. There's a reason why Tua didn't get a big bag this year. There's a reason why Chris Grier said, hey, let's play it out and see what happens. Because we all want to see what happens. He is in the midst of the prove-it year like I've never seen. Some fans don't want to believe it, but trust me, Stephen Ross ain't cutting no big check for a 9-8 season. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna cut a big check for some quarterback who can't finish the season. Ain't gonna happen. I don't care what your fandom level is, at some point, reality has to step in. At some point, you have to understand performance actually counts for an entire season. Not midway, not for 4 or 5 games, but for an entire season. In addition, Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel both know that every single team on the gauntlet of the Miami Dolphins schedule this year is going to throw the kitchen sink at Tua. And in order for him to get that big bag at the end of the year, he's going to have to show that he can navigate through the defensive schemes that they're going to throw at him. That's what elite quarterbacks do. They don't play half a year. They don't play 6 or 7 games and be in the MVP hunt to deserve a big contract. This is the year he has to prove it. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Everybody can see it. If you just step into reality and understand at this point, with this roster, He has to prove that he can drive this ship, that he can make it work. So far, he has it. He's a great guy. I don't have anything against Tua. But he doesn't have a big contract because he hasn't proven it yet. There's no denying it. I don't understand why people can't accept that Tua has to prove it in order to be that guy. You're already sold. Obviously, Chris Greer isn't. Obviously, Stephen Ross isn't. Obviously, some of the guys on ESPN aren't sold. You can discount their opinion. You can discount my opinion. But you can't discount fact. And the fact is that Tua hasn't finished an entire season. He hasn't won a playoff game. He hasn't done the bare minimum in order to reach that level of elite quarterback standing where you get the $150 million guaranteed contract and $250 million over 5 years. Not going to get it. It's not going to happen. So all the rooting and all the pissed offedness on Twitter because Barry says it, everybody's saying it. Even Dominic Foxworthy in his piece on that segment said, there's no doubt about his talent. Nobody doubts his talent. It's whether or not he can perform the entire season. No whataboutisms necessary. Tom Brady played for 20 years or so. Answered the bell every single season except for one when he got hurt in his knee. All the great ones perform. All the great ones show up. All the great ones win trophies. All the great ones win championships. They win. They win. Not stats. Not relying on stats. Stats are only good for those who don't win. You see, every single person that I see on Twitter who talks about all the stuff that Tua did last year, you only say that because he didn't do what's necessary to be an elite quarterback. Didn't win a playoff game. Didn't win a championship. Didn't win a Super Bowl. Hasn't even come close. So forget the stats. That was last year. It sounds good, looks good on paper, but it's about winning. And in order to get the big contract, in order to get the big money, you have to win. You have to be there. Tua knows that. Supposedly he took all of the different things he had to do, jiu-jitsu, bulk up, whatever you want to do. Train extremely hard. Mike McDaniel said he was off the charts on all the analysis. But now there's one chart that matters. And that one chart that matters and is between he and getting a big contract is winning. Is winning, getting into the playoffs, going deep into the playoffs. There's nothing else that matters. There's no amount of two-and-on level craziness that matters. It's time to get on the field and show what you can do. Chris Greer's waiting. The fan base is waiting. The media is waiting. All he's got to do is prove it to everybody, and most importantly, prove it to himself. So is this year a year that Tua Tagovailoa is playing for the bag, playing for his job? Absolutely he is. If the Dolphins don't make the playoffs and go deep into the playoffs with this roster, he's either going to be sitting around holding a clipboard or not be on his team next year. That's what I have to say about it. Let me know what you think.
Figure that one out. Guys, one of my dearest friends, loves them to like, came up to check on me, came up to check on us, because we've been reading and hearing so much of y'all. But I wanted to say a few words to you, man. This is one of the toughest receivers, if not the toughest receivers I've ever played against in my life. When you played against him, you had to bring your lunch pail, because he was coming. Hall of Fame with Michael Irvin.
I absolutely love college football. I've been a University of Notre Dame Fighting Irish fan for basically as long as I can remember. And I'm really cheering for Deion Sanders this year against all the adversity that this man has faced. Every single time I see somebody in the media going after him again, saying that it's not going to work, that he's got, one guy actually said he has the worst roster in college football. The worst roster in college football. Lately, the Colorado Buffaloes have been a joke of a program. In fact, last year they went 0-11 or 0-12. Do you really think that Deion Sanders is going to come into this program in his first year and bring him into the college football playoffs? I don't think so. I don't think you measure success for that program in terms of bringing them into the college football playoffs. I think success for the Colorado Buffaloes would be 3 or 4 wins. If they can get out 3 or 4 wins, I think everyone has to salute Deion and say, great job.
Hey, what's up, guys? Make no mistake about it, man. You better suck in and enjoy these moments. These are great moments right here. I'm telling you, you're going to relive this all your life. Time and I, we can get together, we talk. I get to reminisce about my history. Right now, you young men, you're writing your history. So each time you step on this field, you think about that so you can write well. So later you can reminisce well. Why is our game different than all games? You know why this is the best game in the world? There's no such thing as individual, isolated success in football. You can see it in basketball. LeBron takes the ball off one rim, he dunks on the other, he does it all by himself. You see it in baseball. Aaron Judge he slaps that home run, he does it all by himself. In golf, Tiger drops that putt, he does it all by himself. In football, you don't do anything all by yourself. It's always about the man next to me. It's always about the man that's with me. If you look to the left and the right, every day, I'm not talking about game day, I'm talking every day, and make a promise. One man to the other, I will get my job done today. That's how you win football games. One man to the other, I will get my job done today. And then you do everything to get that job done. And I'm not just talking on game day, it starts out here.
But the problem I'm having is they don't even give him credit for that. They don't think he's going to do anything. They seem to have some sort of delight in watching this guy fail. I don't know if it's because he went to a HBCU and then he jumped to Colorado, or the fact that he became a very, very strong Christian man who's looking to build men beyond football. That alone should be just something that people herald, that he's trying to instill something into these guys. Is Deion cocky? Is he arrogant? Is he a master marketer? Is that what you're embarrassed about? Because he's just so open, so transparent, just letting you guys come in with the cameras. He's doing everything with social media with his son. You constantly see him on Twitter. You constantly see him on YouTube. Come on in. If you got a camera, take some pictures. Look what we're doing here. He's promoting this program. He's bringing athletes like Michael Irvin in and Warren Sapp to talk to these young guys and let them know people are coming for you. People are going to take shots at you. People want to see you fail because they want to see Primetime fail.
Game day is the fun time. This is the work time. These practices, you got to get something out of them. When you go in, when I got ready to play, or we got ready to play, the best way I can make sure I beat Jerry Rice is to get Deion ready. I said, let's go, time. We got to work. I know you got. I need you to shut down Jerry Rice. I got to get you ready right here, right now. That's what you guys should be doing. Getting each other ready. Then you'll be looking. You can't wait to jump on other people. You can't wait. Our game is different. Most of the people you know will get to the top of their game or the top of their field. They'll be punching a computer. They don't know what we know. So if you're just punching a computer or doing something, all you got to do is sharpen your skill. But in our game, it's a hand-to-hand, man-to-man combat. I have to sharpen my skill. At the same time, I have to deepen my will. I'm not punching a keyboard without any emotions. I'm going up against another grown man that wants to feed his family, that wants to make a great life for himself. I gotta tell him, I want this more than you. That's what you gotta tell him. Every time you line up across from, hey man, I'm sorry, but I gotta beat you today. I gotta want this more. You can work your skill all day. If you don't deepen your will, you're going to get your ass kicked.
For them, if Primetime fails, they don't have to worry about him going to the SEC. They won't have to worry about him taking on Nick Saban or Florida State. They won't have to worry about that. If they stop him now, then it's all over. But what they don't understand is the type of compelling, I don't know what you want to call it, personality that draws these kids to him. They even took one player, Tyler Brown, who's gone through hell, basically, watched his former coach die on the field. He looked to transfer, and what did they do? They denied his transfer to go play with Deion Sanders. He was with Deion at Jackson State, and he wanted to come to Colorado. They said, no. You're seeing players transfer everywhere. In fact, at Notre Dame, we have a transfer. But this kid, because he's transferred twice, because of the death of his prior coach, that you've had enough. I thought you guys were supposed to be, advocates for strong mental health. What happens? Why is it with Deion you guys are playing these games? Why is it that, what's his name, Paul Feinbaum and all these guys out there, instead of saying Deion is building a program, it's going to take him a couple years to get it up to speed, you'd rather say, no, it's not going to happen. Deion can't coach.
You have to tighten your skill and your will. And you deepen your will by putting work in out here together. When you get on game day, you say, man, we worked too hard to lose this game. Let's go, dude. We're not losing this game. A lot of people aren't going to give you the chance. There's nothing greater than slapping people in the face with, damn it, I told you so. You measured me and you didn't know what was in here. Don't let no one tell you what you got in here. For the rest of your life, you're going to come up against some things, man. And it's going to determine, what's going to determine how you succeed is what you got in here. Because the vicissitudes of life going to hit everybody. We all going to have problems. What do you have in here that will get you through it? What do you guys have in here? This season, you're going to get a lot of eyes. A lot of eyes. You think you want these eyes? Or you think you're ready for these eyes? Yes. Because these eyes that are looking on you guys, they're looking to see the first mistake, the first bad anything. That's why you got to play together. Nobody's looking at you, oh, we want to see them do great. They're looking and say, oh, we're going to see them fail. Make sure they don't get what they want.
I don't understand why you guys are talking this way. Even Danny Cannell a couple days ago said something on Twitter because Deion wants to recognize the HBCU that he graduated from instead of Florida State. You didn't want him at Florida State. You needed a coach. You said no. But now, again, another person jumps on Deion Sanders. The guy can't catch a break from the media and from certain former players and certain alumni. I like those odds. I want you to be against me. I want you, if I'm Deion Sanders, to be another person I have to prove myself to. I know a lot of kids on that team really look up to him. I know a lot of players want to come play for him. And I know the community is 150% behind him.
I see receivers now, man. I do games, I see receivers leaving the damn field on third down. Tapping out. I don't want to play with a dude if I see you tapping your damn head on third down. Are you joking? Are you serious? You were born for this right here, and you over there go. Like, man, please. I'm in the huddle. You come in the huddle trying to get me out on third down. So get your ass out this huddle. Me and you and coach talk later. But right now, this is my time. You gotta want those moments. The moments that most will run from, you must run to if you want greatness. Because that's what it takes. You gotta get over that hump.
That kind of infectious aura, that type of infectious personality, and what he brings to a community tells me he's going to succeed. Will it be this year? I'll say yes. Because what does he have to do? What does success look like in Colorado? Since they were 0-11 or 0-12 last year, success may mean 1 win. Success may mean 2 wins. He's going to succeed. Whether you go against him or not, Deion Sanders is a winner. He's been a winner at just about everything in his life.
Can't run from it. You got to run to it. You know, courage doesn't say I did not have fear. Courage said I had an ability to overcome my fears. You have to overcome whatever fears you have. Show courage and go get what's rightfully yours, man. Go get what's rightfully yours. It is set up right now for you to shock the world. Shock the world. Make sure the story of the 2023 Colorado Buffaloes be told the right way. Make sure it's told the right way. And that's on each of you. One man to the other. Each man for the other. I will get my damn job done. Today and every day. If you can make that promise, you can do something special. All right? Let's do that, guys. Let's talk about that. Come on. Let's come in here. Let's talk about a promise made on 3. A promise made on 3. We got to make that promise one man to the other, each man for the other. A promise made on 3. 1, 2, 3. A promise made.
Don't sleep on Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes. Just don't do it. You're making a mistake. And I hope this weekend he's playing against TCU and he shocks the world. Long shot? Absolutely. But it can happen. Let me know what you think about Deion Sanders and what he's doing with the Colorado Buffaloes.
Bayless has pioneered that he is the greatest hater of this toxic age of judging the hell out of the athletes. Hey, LeBron, yeah, second place all time. You choker. He is the face of this, and what he has decided to do, and this part's fascinating to me. Every athlete he's been killing and crushing for 20 years sits next to him now, and they want the mic. And they want the ball. Michael Irvin's in trouble. Michael Irvin's competitive. That's 3 generations of the loudest loudmouth in football. 3 of them. Keyshawn, Richard Sherman, and Michael Irvin. Holy Skip, they're going to take your show.
I don't know what's going on with the Undisputed and First Take and Stephen A. Smith and Skip Bayless, and it just seems like they're constantly fighting for power or authority. I'm not even sure how much longer the debate shows can even continue to go on. At some point, many of us are becoming quite tired with just seeing grown men sit up on a stage and scream at each other. It's not for me. I'm not interested in having somebody scream their opinion at me. But what Dan Le Batard had to say in that segment, I have to agree. You're sitting there with 3 alpha males. You're sitting there with Richard Sherman, Michael Irvin, and Keyshawn Johnson, and you've been reduced to basically a moderator. You're the Molly Curran of Undisputed. You're no longer the head honcho. These guys are going to take your show. That's no doubt. That's going to happen. You're a 71-year-old man running with these young bucks, and it's not going to be long where the FS1 execs are going to look down at the numbers and go, why are we paying Skip Bayless? Well, I understand he started this, but these 3 guys work for us. So if the contract with Keyshawn, Michael Irvin, who they stole from ESPN because ESPN was stupid, and Richard Sherman, if those 3 guys are in the contract with FS1, they're going to just use them at someplace else, do a different show. Hey, Skip, take this Undisputed crap and shove it. You're the Molly Curran of FS1 right now. You're no longer Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. You're just a guy sitting there with the clipboard giving up the topics and moderating and having to raise your hand when it's time for you to talk. I don't know how long that kind of show can succeed. You've got 3 basically Hall of Fame players sitting on a desk panel with you who know more, way more than you could even think to know. And they're going to have conversations that you can't even interject into. They're going to talk about things that you can only write about. You've never experienced it. they're going to talk about things that are going to leave you looking like Molly Qerim. You have no basis to be in the conversation. So although it's great that you brought on Rachel Nichols and now Josina Anderson, that's fine. They're from your media world. You guys can talk the same lingo and they'll look up to you. But Keyshawn, Michael Irvin, and Richard Sherman, they don't need Skip Bayless. And it won't be long before people find out. Listen to what Jason Whitlock says about that right here.
The issue that Le Batard's getting at, that I agree with, and I'm arguing, he's the least interesting person on his show by far. I saw a clip of them talking about receivers catching the ball with their hands or catching it with their bodies, and Richard Sherman got in an argument with Michael Irvin and Keyshawn about it. And I'm telling you, and it sounds trivial, but I was like, man, this is interesting. Look at these great players argue about this. And I was sitting there like, oh, I can't wait to see what this person said, this person said. It was fascinating. And the one thing I wanted, and it ran across my mind, is like, man, I hope Skip don't jump in here and say anything. Because I was just thinking that, because and it's not some animus I had towards Skip. It's just like, what does he know in comparison to this trio about what they're arguing about? And I can't find this kind of conversation on sports TV anymore. Everything, someone's racist or everything is, and so it was just fun watching NFL players have a passionate discussion about something in football. And it was the first time I was like, whoa, Skip's irrelevant on his own show.
So it's kind of obvious at this point that something is going on with the debate show format. Stephen A. Smith is doing his own thing with the podcast. Is probably doing better numbers than First Take. Skip Bayless over here with these three guys is about to just lose control of his show and have these guys take over. They don't need to pay Skip Bayless $8, $9, $10 million a year. They can put a pretty face like Molly and have somebody moderate these three guys and give them the money. This isn't going to bode well for Skip Bayless. I don't know where it's going, but I don't know if this was a smart idea. And I think what's going to happen, number one, I don't think these debate shows have a long lifespan. I think people are over it. They'd like a higher, more intelligent conversation than somebody screaming at them. I think Stephen A is going to find out that he's able to do much more on his own podcast. He's not restricted to just talking about these topics. If you've seen his podcast, he's talking about everything. I think he's trying to get a late night gig or something, but he's just not in the sports lane, which is fine. I actually enjoy some of his takes that aren't sports related. I enjoy some of his takes that are political. I enjoy hearing that kind of discussion. Undisputed, not so much, man. Skip Bayless, I think you're an antique. I think at this point, what you've done is put together a great nucleus. I think Keyshawn, Richard Sherman, and Michael Irvin are going to do great things. I just don't think they need you long term. Let me know what you guys think. Number one, are you tired of the debate shows? And number two, do you think that Richard, Michael, and Keyshawn are basically going to relegate Skip Bayless to a Molly Qerim type role? Let me know what you think. Raise your hand if you remember when Keith Olbermann was an actual broadcaster on SportsCenter and who was pretty good. I actually enjoyed hearing Keith Olbermann talk about sports, but I'm not sure if he had a blood problem or a diet problem or whatever, but he's gone completely off the rails. I don't know what Donald Trump did to him. I don't know how Donald Trump hurt him. But over the last couple of years, the guy has just been unfriggin' hinged. Absolutely nuts. And I think sometimes when he speaks, he doesn't realize just how unhinged he really is. I mean, seriously, he started talking recently, and he went after Riley Gaines, which was completely stupid. He started pushing something about Riley Gaines, and he wanted to talk about her, basically just accept the fact that transsexuals are now beating you. They're better than you because you're not good enough. Here's what he actually tweeted. Can you just address the reality and move past it? You sucked at swimming. That's why you lost. Huh? I told you Keith Olbermann has lost it. I told you he's absolutely gonzo. He doesn't think Riley Gaines was any good in swimming, and that the reason she lost to Lenny Thomas, whatever the hell his name is, its name, is because she just wasn't good enough. Never mind the fact that she was winning awards and her teammates were winning awards and doing extremely well until a guy jumped in the pool with them. So by posting this, can you just address the reality and move past it? You sucked at swimming. That's why you lost. Even the Twitter people had to come in and say, sorry, Keith, you're an absolute moron. Riley Gaines was a very successful swimmer, ending her college Wildcat career, Wildcat for Kentucky Wildcat, as one of the most decorated swimmers in the program's history. How did a guy who used to be one of the best Sports Center broadcasters not know Riley Gaines' history? I'm dumbfounded. How did you not know that Riley Gaines wasn't a former champion, that she won all kinds of awards? How stupid and unhinged did you have to be on your keyboard to just sit there and go after her, not even thinking about who you were talking to? You are so in the tank for some of this craziness going on in the world that you don't even think. He just jumped in. Hey, listen, quit whining. Quit whining about losing to a guy. Don't worry about it. Get past it. It's reality now. And you sucked anyway. Seriously? Seriously? Is that what you had to say, Keith Olbermann? Luckily, Riley Gaines brought the receipts. Check this out.
All right, Keith, as I was getting my All-SEC first team honors down to show you, I dropped it and I broke it, which would be really unfortunate if I didn't have more of those, but lucky for me I do. So let's go through it. SEC title, second in the country. This is my SEC Community Service Leader of the Year award, which actually got me a lot of money. Oh, another SEC title, an NCAA trophy. Oh, look, SEC Scholar Athlete of the Year. Believe it or not, I'm pretty smart. Another SEC title, another NCAA trophy. Oh, that's when we won an SEC championship as a team. Some more SEC honors. Oh, look, another one. That's when I broke the 200 butterfly record, the SEC record, which I still hold, making me one of the fastest Americans of all time. And so, Keith, I would be really sad if I broke this trying to prove a point to an old man who can't even seem to keep a job. But I've got more of these, so I'm not. Thanks, Keith.
Oh, wow, Keith Irvin, you just got backslapped. I was going to say a different word, but you know what I mean. Oh my God, did she just clap back at you? You actually called a championship swimmer, a champion level swimmer, as it says that she sucked. Let me read this again. Can you just address the reality and move past it? You sucked at swimming. That's why you lost. No, Keith, that's not why Riley Gaines lost. That's not why she finished second in that swim meet. She finished second in that swim meet, not because she sucked at swimming, but because she had to compete with a biological male. A huge, if you've ever seen the pictures, he was towering over these women. He jumped in the pool with his little spandex suit, and he was a whole pool length ahead of them. Except the fact that you just looked like an idiot by trying to say that Riley Gaines wasn't a champion swimmer. That the only reason she lost was because she sucked? Are you kidding me? Come on, Keith. Come on, man. You were involved in sports way too long to be that ignorant. She had to swim against a biological male. This guy was stronger, bigger, longer arms than she could even possibly compete against. And you're telling her and other women at this point, because what you're saying is, women, hey, just get over it. This is how it's going to be. Is that what you're saying? Well, obviously, by telling her, hey, address the reality and move on. No, we don't want to accept your reality. We don't want to accept this. This is not normal. We are not going to allow you to clown us and make us accept your insanity. It's not going to work this way. It's not going to happen. We're pushing back. Thankfully, so many sports regulatory bodies are starting to see this insanity for what it is and go, nah, that ain't happening. You can't swim here. You can't run here. You can't do X, Y, or Z because you don't belong in this pool. No pun intended. You're not part of this group. It just doesn't work that way. So now you guys have resorted to telling people like her and anybody else, just accept it. It's too late. It's too friggin' bad. This is how it's going to be. This is now normal. And if you don't like it, it means you suck. I have a daughter. I have granddaughters. And I will never, ever accept that they are second place finishers because they suck if they have to compete against a biological male. What sucks is a biological male who couldn't compete with people in his pool, pun intended. And so he had to get out of that pool and go play with the girls. When I grew up, that'd get you an ass whooping. Straight up ass whooping, along with some other stuff. Probably get you parked into sitting in front of a psychologist. It's not normal. We're not going to accept it as normal. There's nothing you can tell us to make us accept this as normal. You can shut us up. You can try to shut us up, but it's not working anymore. And thank you, Riley Gaines, for putting it back in his face. So let me know what you guys think about Keith Olbermann being a complete nut and trying to force Riley Gaines to accept his insanity. Talk to you soon.